Well, here I am. I've put a bunch of videos out. You'd think I would have gotten to this before now, but I don't. I still don't really know what I'm going to do with this channel. But seeing as books and media and whatnot is my biggest passion, I guess. I guess that's what I'm going to start leaning towards. That's what most of my content has already been. So I guess I'll talk about myself for a little while. Hopefully not too long. I won't do any of the questions and answers like a lot of people do with this thing. Mostly because I can't come up with any straight answers for most of those questions. Like your favorite book from X period or whatever. Like how do you pick favorites? When we come like this up. Anyway. I can tell you my generalities, what I like and gravitate towards and whatnot. First off, I need to apologize if my voice is coming off a little rough. I've been sick lately, like a lot of people have. I am getting over it. I'm well over it, what I was a couple of days ago, and yesterday. Not too bad right now. Weird thing about me is whatever I got, I've never fully been able to go to the doctor and get a full checkup and everything, so I don't technically know exactly what's wrong with me, like a lot of people have been fortunate enough to figure out. So I just have to guess and just go with the flow, because I just don't have the means to do it. So I just have to, and the weird thing is no matter what I may have, what I come down with, nothing seems to stick with me for very long. And I'll let you in on a little secret. If you've come across on Facebook, on my page and whatnot, there's a moniker that I go by. If you've ever seen it, it's a verse pool. I chose that, an acolyte of Deadpool, with that name, mainly because nothing seems to hold me down very long health-wise, and it seems to me that if anybody's got a quote-unquote health factor like Deadpool does, where he stays sick, yet he gets over most things in his life, it seems like I do that to an extent too. And so I just figured I could call it verse pool. And the reason I chose the verse part is if I ever get a chance to go to Comic-Con or anything like that, I got an outfit, although it's very basic, and it's got a lot of accessories to it, where it looks like this version of Deadpool travels the multiverse, and he collects trophies. I got an Infinity Gauntlet, I got Batarangs, a Freddy Krueger glove, all kinds of weird things from where he's trophies, I guess you call them. And I'm going to make a few other things if I can ever get my dad to teach me about 5 minutes of welding. Been waiting for about 7-10 years for him to do that, and he won't do it. So unless somebody shows up and helps me, I don't know how to finish that. Anyway, yeah, so and it's a dual purpose name for verse, because I'm also consider myself a writer, mainly a poet and songwriter more than anything else. That seems to be what I enjoy the most and what I had the best success with, even though I've got somewhere around 7 to 8 published credits of very short stories in books. None of them are really poems. One technically might possibly be considered one. Where I got a shopping list published as a story. Because I've always heard the comment that Stephen King said once, or somebody said about him, he could publish his grocery list and people would read it. And so I figured, well, I'll figure out how to write a grocery list as a story and get it published. And sure enough, I did. I'm not sure if anybody else has ever done that, but I can hang my hat on that. There's a couple of other things that I've published out kind of like a little bit better. But anyway, if you ever come across those, then like I said, they're not very big, nothing really major to worry about, but they're around, as you say. So put it that way. I've been sick. I'm coming over it. Hopefully my voice isn't too bad for you. I do stammer. I have mentioned that in a few videos. Hopefully that's not going to be too bad here. If it does get bad, I can't edit it out because I don't know how to edit videos. So you're just stuck with that. It's just something that I've had to grow up with. They put me in a speech classes real young age. Didn't help. So anyway, so let's say about my reading. As far as my reading career goes, I don't know exactly when I started reading. I've always been quite a reader to some extent. I don't know how much I read in school in the younger grades, but I do remember distinctly when it got major. I was able to visit one of my uncles once and borrow some of his books, and the ones I borrowed were some Stephen King and Louis Grizzard, and you don't get much better than that to start off with. And once you start off with the best, you just take the ball and run with it. And so I've just been a fan ever since. And then I've read most of Louis Grizzard's. I got at least one more book that I've put away somewhere. I haven't quite gotten to yet. For some reason, I've read all of them pretty much all at one go in a short period of time. For some reason, that one got stuck away. I gravitated towards Dave Barry after that, I think. Mainly because he was syndicated in our newspaper. He's a Miami Herald writer, but they syndicated him all over the country. And mine was one of them. And I discovered him from there, and I read most everything he's put out since. And as far as genre goes, I stuck with, for the most part, comedy and just weird, odd books like that. List books, anything just untraditional and weird. Let's see, lots of weird books that don't really have a genre. You can fit them in, and usually they're lumped together in either the self-help or the comedy / memoir section. I don't really have any on hand right now. I can show you. Well, I got one called let's see here. I can probably get it. Yeah. Here's a couple. Harry Frankfurt on bullshit. And here's a weird one. This book will put you to sleep. I haven't actually read this one yet, but I have read this one a while back. Just weird, odd books. You don't know where to fit them in. I've always gravitated towards those. And then I started with, I believe, leaning towards science fiction. Mainly, I started reading Asimov. I think a little bit of Ray Bradbury. Probably the best little bit of prose I've found is the first page in Ray Bradbury's story, Gotcha. If you ever seen that, that's about as good as it gets. Of course, the story goes off on a tangent after that. But that first page is great. Of course, the whole story is great, but it's I'm just singling out that first page. I mean, it can stand alone on it all by itself if it has to be. I would like to take that page and either print off a copy or something, just frame it. It's just that good, that one page. Anyway. So stuck with science fiction for a while, even though I didn't read that much of it. That was my preferred genre. And I was just hit and miss here and there from books because I didn't have the best access to books. Of course, the internet wasn't really around too much at that that time. So I was left with like flea markets and the occasional yard sale as far as finding books. And so I was stuck with what I could find, of course, the library too. But then once the internet did come around, I was a little bit slow to integrate it into my life. But eventually I got onto Facebook, and the very first group that I joined was one called Books of Horror. Why I didn't look for a science fiction one or anything like that, I don't know. This seemed like a very good group. I don't interact with it much anymore, but I started with it, and I got all kinds of recommendations from that. And so much that I think a good chunk, if not half, if not well more than half, is now horror books of various types, not just Stephen King. And once I got to looking into the horror, I found out that Stephen King's not really a horror writer after all. Of course, he has his moments, but in the grand scheme of things, he's not really a horror writer compared to what it does exist in the horror spectrum. So there was that, and lately I've been watching a lot of blogs from various, all kinds of them. I've subscribed to a dozen and a half, I think, right now. I watch here and there, and I'm starting to get back into the science fiction, not so much reading, but at least collecting them, and I'm eventually getting back to reading them too. But as far as some of my better books, and the reason I'm taking this video here is I want to show you some of this weird stuff that I just happen to have right here at hand. What I'm afraid to read, and I think it's going to be my all-time favorite book, because it's my all-time favorite movie for the most part. There might be one or two other things that are shocking for that position, but as far as I can tell, The Princess Bride is probably my favorite movie, or close to it. And I'm afraid to read the book, because I don't want to be disappointed, even though I know usually the book's even better than the movie. And I got a couple other versions of this, older version, I think an actual first edition paperback too, and one that's not too longer after that. I'm looking for a hardback to go with it too, because when you get something you like so much, you want to collect a few editions of it. And as far as I can tell, I can't find a good hardback that I particularly like. There are a few people that have done special editions, but even those are not really all that great for me. So there's that. Like I said, I'll give just about anything a chance. I'll read all over the spectrum. I have read memoirs. I've read occasional romances. I got tricked into a romance once with a book called Lone Star and the Gold Mine, I believe it was. I had a cover. On the cover had this, I think of what's called a Chicano man, like a Chinese looking dude that was really buff. I thought, well, he's going to kick some butt in a old Western setting. Well, according to the book, he in the very first chapter, he got injured in a dang train explosion. So he spent the whole book recovering from his injuries. So while his girlfriend, I guess you'd call her, she went off and did the butt kicking the rest of the book, I think, which is fine, but it's not what I expected, and it wound up being more of a romance. I'll spare you the details on that, but it wound up being a romance instead of more westerny. I don't really read westerns, but the few I have read, I've liked, and I'm afraid to get too much into them, because I know I will like a bunch of them. Louis L'Amour and what's the guy's name before him wrote a bunch. It was just on my mind a couple seconds ago, but anyway, yeah. Thankfully they'll be easy to find if I ever do want to get into them, because if they are out of print, they're still easy to find if I wanted to get to those. But yeah, So I've read a lot of graphic novels and comics and things, and I showed this video not too long ago where I'm trying to get into the anime, or not anime, crap, manga. I get those two words confused. Trying to get more and more into the manga of various different things. One book, I'll go ahead and put this in this video. I've been wanting to mention this for a while, but I started reading a while back, about 2 years ago, Finnegan's Wake by Joyce, because nobody can seem to make heads or tails out of this book. I got about 20-30 pages in it and set it aside. I wrote a Facebook post about it, and I'm going to read off my post here in a minute of what I figured out. My bookmark fell out, so I don't know exactly where I stopped. I was probably going to have to start over anyway. Like I said, it's not too far into it. And it is very hard to understand, and I cannot translate it. I don't know if anybody can, but I think I've kind of figured it out. As far as the particular audience and why he wrote it the way he did. And I'll just read this. This might be a little old. Because like I said, I wrote this 2 years ago. I might have changed my opinion a little bit, but I'm just going to go ahead and read this off. It says, I started reading Finnegan's Wake. I don't know how long I'll stick with it. I've never actually DNF'd a book before, which is true. Sometimes I will set a book aside, and sometimes it will last a long time, for even years, but I technically do not ever DNF a book. This one has a bit of a reputation. Like I said, it's hard to understand. Apparently no one can understand the dang thing, and very few even bothered with the whole 600 plus pages of it. Figured if anyone could, I could, with the way I read. I read by context. If something unfamiliar comes along, I can usually figure it out enough by what's around it, or just ignore it. If a book has too many characters, I can get confused, so I just read for enjoyment, like watching a movie. So I think I figured it out. The way it was written, at any rate, if not what it's actually about, didn't take me long by at least page 8, and I'm on 18 now, which apparently is where I left off. So here it is. Maybe someone better than I can use this to actually decipher it. First thing, Joyce, or actually the narrator, comes from an area with a very localized dialect, which is true. There are some places where a certain type of language is only spoken in this small little town, and sometimes a town can only have 100 people, maybe even a couple dozen, or who knows. Only really those in that area can understand it. An example would be that Bruce actor Adam Sandler puts in all his movies. What I'm getting at there is probably best explanation is in Waterboy. I think he got this really Louisiana Southern character there where you can't understand the dang word he says, but people down there in his area know perfectly well what he's saying. And but of course Adam Sandler puts him in the movie for a comedic effect, and I think Bruce is his actual name, the actor name. Anyway, with his deep Louisiana accent, no one can understand. It's English, but not noticeably so. The narrator is the same way. Much of what he says is spelled out phonetically too, which, if you notice, that a lot of words in this Finnegan's Wake is spelled out phonetically, not actually the way they are supposed to be spelled. He also likes to go into too much detail and repeat what he says many different ways. Add to this that he is also an intellectual who knows several big words and many different languages as well. Using localized words and phrases that don't mean much, if anything, to outsiders is bad enough. But he knows so many languages that none really are his home language, and he lapses words from each at any time. Phonetically in the book, remember. Next, he also has Tourette's. Now, most people think Tourette's is the condition that causes you to uncontrollably curse, but only a few people with Tourette's actually do that. He uses when you get Tourette's, a lot of times you just splurt out different words, different sounds, all this, and a lot of it just doesn't mean much of anything. It just happens. He uses it with expressions and alliteration and noise making and such. An example of this is where you would say, that guy hit a home run. But somebody with Tourette's might say, or a mild form of it, he hit a home runny run. Woohoo! Finally, the last thing, this guy is also drunk. Just because we can acknowledge and accept all the preceding doesn't mean he's always going to make sense. Sometimes things are just made up. You got that too. So that's the way I've figured it out. You combine all these different instances together, and you get a gobbledygook of a book, which almost nobody can understand. There are a bunch of different authors that have written things with a few of those, one or two here and there of things like that. But as far as I know, Joyce is the only one that's thrown them all together in one big glob of a book. So I'm going to eventually read the whole thing. And I might not get anything out of it like most other people, but at least I can go by that. And I'll have some idea about what's happening. Alright. And I'll just try to finish this off by saying, even though I haven't DNF'd any book, there are some that I've not liked. One of them was Confederacy of Dunces. A lot of people have loved that book. It even won, I believe it won a Pulitzer. It was so well liked. But when I read it, I wanted to throw it against the wall until it stuck. I just did not like it whatsoever. But I did find a parody of it, a cornucopia of dunderheads. Apparently it's a sequel, quote-unquote a sequel, written by the Tool's son. So this one should be better. I don't know when I'll get to it, but so I got that. And I just want to show you off. It's not meant to be a book haul, but there are some things I want to show off. I guess they're hard to find. There's a book by Adam Caesar and what's this? Cameron Pierce, I think. Crawling Darkness. I'm trying to find. I can't find it. But if I can find it, that would be pretty much the last Pierce book that I need. I got pretty much a full collection of Cameron Pierce. I'll just show a couple of them off right now, just to finish this off. Like I said, this is not meant to be a book haul. You know, there's a Way of the Salmon. Let's see here. Of course, that's not that big a deal. This one was really, really hard to find, but eventually I found it. It's a Leprechaun in the Hood, the musical, a novel. That was. Some of these dang books are very hard to find, and right now the hardest is that collaboration with Caesar, because I found everything else. See anything down there? No. Yeah, I don't have to show you all of them. I just want to. That's not the right drawer anyway. This is the drawer, I think. Let's see here. Then you got this one, In Heaven, Everything is Fine. This is the David Lynch type stories, I think. Yeah. Got a bunch of other authors that write. It's like an anthology. Let's see here. I don't think. Here's another one that was really hard to find. Fistful of Feet. That's actually Jordan Crawl, by the way. I'm sorry, I got that confused. He's another one that's hard to find books by. There's one of his I think I'm looking for too. I think it's called Beyond the Valley of the Apocalypse Donkeys or something like that. That's about the only one of his I'm looking for now too. Let's see, here's a couple other crawls. Squid Pulp Blues, Piecemeal June. Both of these are pretty hard to find. Let's see here. No, here we go. Gargoyle Girls of Spider Island. That one was a little bit hard to find. Not as much as some others. Let's see, we got Abortion Arcade. It's another, yeah, it's another Pierce. Let's see. Lost in Cat Brain Land. Die, You Donut Bastards. Shark Hunting in Paradise Garden. Pickled Apocalypse of Pancake Island. Amazing Stories of Flying Spaghetti Monster, another anthology. I need to get this in there. That's sad. That's enough, I think. There's another one that I've actually got in storage. So I was going to go out and look for it, but I don't know where it is. It's got so many books in storage. Who knows how long it would take me to find it. It is shoot. It is the Nazi type book. I don't forgot what it's called. Let me see. I don't know if any of these books got a thing in there. No, I don't think they do. Yet. I don't want to look at this too long. Waste your time. Cannot, for the life of me, cannot remember. There it is. Ask Goblins of Auschwitz. Yeah. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's a black and white picture of it. Kind of hard to make out. That one was pretty interesting and out there. If you've ever heard about that or read it, then you know about my taste in books at the moment. I like, this is bizarro / weird is what this stuff is. You know, you suspend your sense of belief when you start books like this, because for the most part these things are written straightforward, even though the things that happen are very wacky and strange. Right now, Carlton Mellick is the big name in this genre, and he's got, what is it, 50-something books right now, and he's still churning them out. I think I got everything of his now. Finally, I got 2 more that are on the way. They're taking their time getting here through the mail, but other than that, I think I got everything but his. So that's a little bit about me. If you have any further questions or anything you want to know, just let me know. I'm not the best as far as responding to questions and whatnot, but I'll try. If it's a good, honest question, you know, I'll try to give it a good, honest answer. So that's basically me in a nutshell, I guess, as far as reading and whatnot. Like I said, I am a writer. Of course, I work night shift right now, and it doesn't give me any time at all to do any writing whatsoever. I hardly even have time to read right now because of the night shift. You know, once I get off, I'm so darn tired, I basically just fall asleep. Even though I don't have much time to sleep and at all anyway. But with a little bit of free time I got, I usually use it for sleep. and of course I have to eat a little bit and do other stuff, chores and whatnot. But that's it. I didn't want this video to go on this long, so I appreciate it if you stayed with it, and like I said, apologize for my voice and whatnot, and I thank you for watching this if you watched it, and I'm sorry about the light. I tried to do my best as far as camera phone placement. So I've noticed it's been blinking on and off. So I apologize for that. Sorry, but so I thank you if you watch this, and for those few of you that are sticking with me. I'm probably on the lowest totem pole as far as these booktubers go. I don't seem to really have a following, but we always hope. I don't think I'm doing anything too much different than everybody else, other than the fact that I don't know how to edit a video, put anything on the screen like other people can do. All I can do is push record, and stop. Everything else is above my head. Maybe you need separate programming or something like that to work with that. I don't know. But anyway, so that's that. I thank you, and we'll see you again next time. I got another book haul scheduled. I'm waiting for a few more stragglers to come in. Most of them are right behind me. It's going to be another decent sized one. Not the biggest, but it'll still take a little while. So I'll look forward to that. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.